I met Dan Pena in February of 1993, a long time ago. We've been partners for more than 25 years. It's been quite a ride. But I'm asked a lot from mentees what separates those that are successful from those that aren't. So I wanted to spend a few minutes to talk about that. There's a reason that Dan Pena in the Castle Seminar spends so much time talking about self image. That's the number one problem that I see, and it's probably also the number one barometer of success. I could probably take probably out of that. It is the number one barometer of success. How you feel about yourself as you go through this process is incredibly important because it's going to be different. It's going to take you out of your comfort zone. And if you realize that, and you realize that with the right mental attitude, these comfort zones will expand, just like making cold calls. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what I see people do right and what I see people do wrong. So the first is self-image. If you haven't, go read a book called Release Your Brakes by James Newman. He was a mentor of Dan's, and he coined the phrase comfort zone. So take a look at that. That will help you a ton. A lot of people say it's a very emotional book for them as they go through that process. So that's a start. The second is so many people procrastinate. All of us have procrastinated, but people that accomplish things have a sense of urgency around them. And with that sense of urgency, they impart that to the team around them as well. So they keep some momentum going. Give some thought to what it is you want to do, what the industry is, what the profit margins are. You want to be sure that you're working in an area which is profitable and you can actually have some financial gain. And think about what it is you can do differently in that industry. It doesn't mean you have to reinvent the wheel, but it does mean that you have to think about things that are problems in the industry and that you can change. And usually that's customer service related. So why is that important? You're going to surround yourself, which at first is going to be out of your comfort zone usually, with big hitters, as Dan said, for your dream team. Those are the people that give you credibility. Those are the people that give you the things that you experience that you don't have. So it's really important to do that. And the really big hitters, they're not worried about the financial gain most of the time and what they're going to be compensated with. In fact, hearing that is a pretty good red flag that you've got the wrong person. They're interested in if they can make a contribution. And they're also interested because they realize how valuable time is to them. Is this worthy of spending my time on? So they're going to ask you just really a few questions. Why is this important to you? What are you going to do differently than everybody else in this industry? Because they're usually not interested in just doing the same as everybody else. And then the last one, I would encourage you to think about, but you don't have to run up against this question a lot. But one of my mentees did with a CEO candidate, chairman candidate actually, and he said, I don't really care what you're going to tell me until you can explain to me why is the world a better place because of what you're going to do and your great idea. Not always will you have that, but if you can think about that, you're going to get people enthused about what you're doing, and your success in bringing on big hitters is going to be much, much different. Then follow the steps. Once you put the dream team together, and that'll be a chairman that's done a series of acquisitions, well known hopefully. You want some industry experts, you want a retired accountant, a retired lawyer on your board that have done deals. That's going to be your brain trust. And I can't tell you how, I guess can tell you, is how much you're going to use that board. You typically don't have the experience in the industry you're going into. So just recognize that. Your board already knows that. And if you don't use them, which is a common mistake, your board will wonder, well, I wonder why we're not being used in this venture, and they will disappear. So use your board, use the expertise that they have. And what you'll find is that then translates into your credibility, whether that's with professionals, that's with potential sellers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So really, really important. I'm amazed at how many people do not use their board, and that goes back to self-image. They think, well, if I call them, they'll know I don't know anything. They already know that. But now if you don't use them, they also say, okay, you're stupid as well, which is not what you want to do. Trust in yourself goes back to self-image, and then trust in the process. QLA has been tremendously successful. You just have to look at Dan's track record over 27, soon to be 28 years here. That speaks for itself. Whether it will work for you, can't predict that. I don't know you, don't know how hard you're going to work, all of those things, don't know how good a team you've put together, etc. But trust in the process, and then go through and use the tools that will keep you tied to a sense of urgency. And one of the ways to do that is what's called an Ivy Lee method. Every night, write down the 3 things or 6 things that'll move your needle the most in QLA. And then the next day, work on the most important. Prioritize those things and do that first. A lot of times that's, once you've got your board together and your professionals, talking to sellers, cold calls, letters, emails, a variety of ways you can contact them. But just every day, make sure you're contacting sellers. The professionals, you want at least deferred fees on failed transactions to the next successful, discounted, and deferred is even better. So just remember that. But I think in summary, follow the steps, realize your comfort zone is going to expand, and 95%, I heard this from an interview with Josh Kim, 95% of the stuff he worried about never happened. Well, what if this goes wrong? And what if it doesn't go wrong? So trust in that. One of the things that's really important is leadership. Lead from the front. Don't ask people to do things that you are not willing to do yourself, and show a sense of urgency. You'll be surprised, maybe, at how they pick up on that. If you delay, if you procrastinate, the rest of the team will. And that applies to sellers as well. You want to keep that on a path that you have momentum going. And have more than one deal, certainly. Have numerous opportunities, numerous targets. Those give you choices. But the people who succeed the most are those that don't lose focus. They work this on a highly organized way every single day. It becomes a habit to talk to sellers, send letters, make calls, all of those things, and they take action. So stay focused, take tons of action, kiss a lot of frogs, realize you're going to fail your way to success, but trust in the process and follow the steps. There's a lot of people that jump to doing a deal because that feels exciting without building a board, without getting professionals. And what you'll find then is almost all of those people, the deal falls apart. It's amazing how much help your board can give you and your professionals can give you, and how that process, which is what Dan set up originally, the dream team and the professionals, how that representation will dramatically increase your chances of success and will also help you avoid many of the pitfalls that you would learn yourself by not doing it right. So I just wanted to give you an overview of that. I think it's really important. If you can go to Dan's site, gets free materials. You can go to my site, brucewhipple.com, get free materials. The boot camp that I've done is the best work I've done, so that may be helpful for you. But follow the steps, really important, and work with a sense of urgency like your life depended on it, because your financial life does depend on it.